One thing that will really test your security or insecurity as a cosplayer is having a random repairman or a stranger enter your home. Because it's one thing to film in public. You might have a friend with you, you might have a camera, there's context. But when you're in your own home, you get really self conscious. At least I do. I think there's a lot of things that can make it worse, but as a black man, for example, in a town that can sometimes be conservative, like it's a little bit weird if another man comes in your house and he sees this in your room, just a mangled wig, like what are you doing with that? Like, of course you can do whatever you want, but it makes you self conscious. And then recently I was like, RJ, maybe you should deconstruct masculinity and femininity a bit more and what it means to you because I was embarrassed when I realized I had a bunch of makeup just all over my bathroom counter. Granted, it was for cosplay, and again, you can do whatever you want, but like, I was embarrassed because I felt exposed. And then on top of that, this is a bit of a spoiler, but I've been attempting to prepare to cosplay from Attack on Titan outside of Onya Capone, which I did years ago, which means I have ODM gear everywhere as I've been trying to figure out how to put it on. But I realize most people don't know what that is. So what does it look like? BDSM gear. Another thing is gun safety. I'm pretty good with gun safety. Like, I don't just swing the guns around. I don't point them at people. I have really good trigger discipline. I've never actually held or owned a real gun, but these are all prop guns for my cosplay. But recently, I had a man come into our house because he was working on the sprinkler system, and they have to come in the house to do what sprinkler people do. And as a very neurodivergent person who's very observant and hyper vigilant, I just notice things in people. I notice when they're changing their mannerisms, but I also know it's not always my job to figure them out. It's not always my job to point out a problem, but I still notice things regardless. And I noticed that as time went on, and especially after this man walked into our home, his demeanor completely changed. Whether or not that was a coincidence, I don't know. That's the disclaimer. I don't really know what's happening, but I do know that he somehow started to like have this weird look in his eyes, like he was like kind of that kind of energy. I started to think that maybe it had annoyed him because I was also working from home at the time and going between like my laptop and the front door, and he kept knocking, and I felt kind of bad. And so I thought like maybe he's irritated that he has to keep knocking for me. But then I thought, it's not really my problem that he's mad at me or angry or irritated. I haven't done anything wrong. He's just a stranger. Let it go. And then later on, he said something along the lines of like, "If you just keep your garage door open, I won't need to enter your home anymore." And the way he said it and just the words that he chose sounded really weird. Like he was just trying to be like, "Hey, I'm not stepping inside your house anymore." Again, I don't know what was going on. But after he left, I realized that I left my prop gun just laying out in the open. And it doesn't look like a prop gun because I covered it in plastic dip. So yeah, I realized that we had a whole conversation at one point where we were just standing inside with the gun pointing at both of us. And if that were me, if I were going to someone's house, a stranger's house, anybody's house really, and I walked in and there was a gun pointing at me, I would feel uncomfortable too. So after that, I started to be a bit more cognizant of the things I left out. I made sure all my toy guns were away. My Nobler skirt wasn't just on the ground, out and about whenever we had someone come visit. So like I said, recently I've been preparing to cosplay from Attack on Titan. So while my room and like the house is pretty clean and everything's put away, I do have some of my Attack on Titan outfit cosplay out because I'm getting ready. And that does include my Attack on Titan Scouts jacket, which is made of like faux leather, and it looks like a regular jacket, so I just left it out because if you didn't know any better, it's just whatever. So when we had an electrician come over, essentially the electrician was going in and out of my room grabbing stuff, and he looks at me and goes, "I like your," and as he was trying to figure out what to say, I thought, "Oh my gosh, did I leave something out? Did I leave a wig out? Did I leave something embarrassing out?" I thought I had cleaned everything. Then he goes, "I like your Attack on Titan jacket." I was like, "Oh, thank you." It was such a silly moment because all this time I felt all this shame and embarrassment and felt a need to hide my cosplay from strangers. Felt a need to hide any semblance of weirdness, any sense of anime, any sense of um dissent from societal norms, right? Then there's this dude who just comes to my house and is like, "Oh yeah, I like anime too." And I felt so silly. What's the point? Like, what's the point of doing all that? And then we just end up talking about anime and cosplay and the Ren Fair, which I've never been to, which he encouraged me to go to. I don't think there's really a point to this video, but yeah, cosplay, it's a fun hobby. You should try it if you really want to.